For some of you on YouTube, we're already live. That's great. For some of you on Facebook, we're just about to go live. And I'm Rob Booker. We're going to talk about the formula for big trend trades. And I am very excited about that. Looks like we've got some audio. Looks like we've got some video. And super excited to see you here. All day, all night, for the last week, I've been thinking about trend trades. And taking trend trades and doing trend trades and whatever else. And in today's video, I want to talk about the formula that goes into trend trading. So if you're joining now and you're here with me, welcome. Glad to have you here. I've also got a brand new camera angle. So hey to everybody out there, let me know where you're from. Let me know where you're watching from. I'm glad to have you here. I think we are doing just fine. Live anyway. Let me know where you're from. Let me know. And we are. I'm glad to have you here. That's great. Okay, so we're good. We're good to go. Okay, there's a formula for trend trades, and what I want to do today is I want to talk to you about what that formula is, what that formula looks like, and every single trend trade has this kind of pattern, or it has these characteristics. It can be Bitcoin, it can be your favorite stock, it could be a currency. Okay, so number one, there's going to be consolidation. And for those of you out there watching today, this is like hardcore technical analysis, right? We're going to get into some nitty-gritty technical analysis. There's going to be, movement that is clearly impulsive in nature, right? But then there's going to be times where the market goes into consolidation area. And there's a bunch of ways to determine this. And what I want to do is I'm going to put a couple of indicators up on the screen. I'm going to show you some ways that people traditionally have looked at that consolidation. So sometimes people will use a moving average. And what they'll do is they'll say, oh, okay, well, the moving average, whatever the moving average is, they'll say this moving average was pointed down, and now this moving average is moving sideways. They may use Bollinger Bands. They may use Keltner channels or Kegel channels. I'm not exactly sure what that is. But in any case, there are a variety of ways that people look for consolidation. And in every case of every significant trend that ever existed from the dawn of time, this consolidation was a key factor. Now, this is also true in nature or in real life or in the real world. Periods of consolidation lead to periods of breakout. Let me give you an example of that. I'll just use the chart here and I'll show you. So in George Leonard's excellent book, Mastery, he talks about the fact that every single journey of mastery, and just forget about these candles that are here right now. So let's say that you want to become great at tennis, martial arts, or anything else. You're going to have a brief period of extraordinary progress at the beginning where everything is new and you make a lot of progress. So I think of my friend Katie, or any of the brand new students that I've worked with, or my friend Tim in Orlando. Hey, Tim, God bless you, man. At the very beginning of time together with me, or any mentor, or any studying that you do as a trader, you're going to feel an immense amount of progress really quickly as lots of new things happen. And then you're going to feel this period of a plateau, where you go sideways and things become more common, more boring, or you feel like you're not learning anything and you feel like you're not making a lot of progress. And this is the plateau, this is the consolidation. And most people give up during this period of consolidation in the same way that most trend traders, they abandoned their commitment to trend trading when this period of consolidation occurs. This happened in 2017, and people say, well, trend trading is dead and volatility is low and trend trading doesn't work anymore and all of those kinds of things. And listen, I haven't been the world's greatest fan of trend trading over the course of my life. I've probably spent a great deal of hours and minutes on YouTube and Facebook ranting against it, in fact. That's beside the point. In any case, there is this period of plateau or consolidation, and most people wash out during this time. They can't hold on during this time of plateau. They give up. You know, the losers give up during that time. And then what happens after this period of consolidation is there's a breakout. And this breakout, it can go in fits and starts, right? You can have what people refer to as a false breakout, which I think is hilarious. It's not false. It's not fake. I mean, it really happened. And then it just didn't continue. So a breakout without continuation, and that can happen. And that can, you know, if it were easy every single time, then every single human on the planet would be doing it, and everyone would be making bazillions of dollars. But anyway, all of life and all of trading trends is about progress, a plateau, and then a breakout. And that is principle number one. That is the first principle or first element or the first ingredient in the formula for making a trend. And all big trends follow that formula. So once again, let's just write that out and let's put that as number one is consolidation. I'm happy to see all of you here. Tim, good morning. Hey, Tim, you are here. God bless you, man. I was thinking about you again this morning. I hate to put it that way. That sounds kind of weird. But a lot of times lately when I'm doing like some morning study or I'm doing some pondering or praying or thoughtful stuff, I don't know, I just can't wait to meet you in person. That's all I'm going to say. Hi, Martin. Hi, David. Hey, Tim Berkwin. My friend Tim's here. Anyway, wow, this is shaping up to be, you know, some of my favorite Tims in the world. And Chuck is here. Geez, the only favorite person in my life that's missing off of this broadcast is my wife. Anyway, let's get back to element number two. So element number two, or ingredient number two in a trend is a breakout. Gosh, this just seems elementary, my dear Watson, does it not, right? A breakout. And sometimes that can be a false breakout. I don't know why I laugh every time that we say false breakout. I think it's because it's probably not possible that there is such a thing as a false breakout. I mean, there's a fault, you know, like that would be like saying that there's, just because you break up and get back together with the same person over and over, that it was a false breakup. I mean, it was a breakup. Just watch Friends. They were on a break. Anyway, so there's not really a false breakout. It's just a breakout that didn't continue or didn't last. All right, every single trend trade ever of all time, and for Tim says, "Morning, Rob. I think about you all the time." Tim, we gotta have breakfast together again. Can Elon Musk please build a pneumatic tube that goes between here and then a breakfast restaurant in Southern California? Does anybody want to meet for breakfast in Southern California sometime? Anyway, let's get back to what we were talking about. Breakout. So then there comes a breakout. And it might look false at first. So you see here that there's a period of consolidation, and then there's a false breakout. It makes me laugh every time. And then we go back inside, and then we break out again. And if this were easy, everyone would do it. But lots of people gave up on the first one, and lots of people won't get it back in again. And that's the problem with trend trading, is lots of people give up on the first break, and then there's a run downward. This is true of, dare I say, everything in all of life. So let me just say, give you an example of this in life. So there's a trend, you meet a person, then things get boring with this person, right? So times get boring, and then maybe you have a false breakup, and then you get back together, and then boom, it gets really good again. Jobs, people, jobs, trading, the universe works like it's a true principle. It's the way things work. A storm comes through, right? A storm comes through. It's a raging storm. The eye of the storm passes over, and it's a period of relative quietude and easiness. And then everything's okay. Let me tell you a story about that. So in 2000, don't remember what year it was, but Hurricane Wilma came through Florida. And my friend Max was living in South Florida at the time in Coral Springs. And so I flew down the day before the hurricane hit, and I was on a US Airways flight by myself. And they were taking planes down there to bring people back, and I'm the only guy on the plane. And so they still did the flight anyway, because they're going to bring planes down and they're going to bring people and stuff out of South Florida. And So I'm flying, down there to go to the storm, and I go down there with Max, and I bought a watch that that had a barometer on it, so we could watch when the eye of the storm came over and the pressure dropped or whatever it was. And so it's 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, and the pressure drops and the hurricane dies down and the eye of the storm is over our head. And some dummy, like we're watching over the balcony, some dummy goes outside and he's roaming around picking stuff up and looking for his things and whatever else. And then the storm picks back up and a tree just smacks into this guy, smacks him in the face. And I don't know what happened to that guy, but I'm pretty much assuming that he's dead. And that was what it was, a period of raging storm, consolidation, and quietude, which is a word I think I just made up. And then the storm starts raging again. So that's element number 2. Is so consolidation and then breakout. So consolidation, breakout, and there are going to be false breakouts. Because if there weren't, then it would be easy, and if it were easy, everyone would do it, and if everyone did it, it wouldn't work anymore, so forget that. And then element number 3, or formula number 3, or recipe part 3 is a run. It's a move in one single direction that continues uninterrupted with very little retracement. Bearish candle, bearish candle, bearish candle, bearish candle, bom, 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 ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Boom shakalaka, shik boom bam, right? Boom, waka, waka, waka. So that's what a run looks like. It's just multiple candles, bars, and movement in the same direction. And this is where you've got to pile it on. This is where you've got to add to what is working. Pile on. You've got to be able to, as a successful trader or someone who wants to be successful, you have to learn to add to what's working. And it's the hardest thing in the world to teach anybody to do. Steve Cohen, the infamous and famous hedge fund manager, said, the hardest thing to teach a trader to do is add to a winning position, or size up, or increase the position size as things get better and as trading, well, blah, blah, blah. And here's what I think you need to learn if you want to learn it. I think you need to learn how to add to a winning position in these times of success. Success generally scares the crud out of most people. Times get good, a relationship gets good, and then people sabotage their relationships. And we all have this sort of natural ceiling on how good we think things can be. Gay Hendricks wrote a book called The Big Leap. And I read the book in like 15 minutes, so I can't remember all the details, but I do remember that one element, that we all have this sort of imaginary ceiling on what we think that we can accomplish. And until we raise that, we will self-sabotage ourselves and naturally bring ourselves back down to some level at which we feel more comfortable. And that's why teaching someone to add to a winning trade is so difficult. And it's because we have this natural maximum amount of profit that we feel like we deserve to have, or are able to do, or are entitled to achieve, or I don't know, whatever else it is that you want to call it. And the most difficult part of this entire process isn't finding consolidation. That's pretty easy. It isn't looking for a breakout. That's pretty easy. The hardest part is taking advantage of trends when they exist, or times when they are good. You really got to pile it on. So when you meet someone and you have a connection with that person, you add to that relationship and you invest more in that relationship. But the reason that people don't do this and they back off and they get frightened is they feel like they're going to get hurt, and they've been hurt before, and you secretly have a low self-esteem or whatever, and so you sort of back off, and then that person wonders what's going on, and then you have a big fight, and then someone's got to get the dog, and someone doesn't get the dog, and someone's got to get back their sweatshirt or whatever. It took me like 9 months one time to get a sweatshirt back from somebody. It was my favorite sweatshirt. I did eventually get it back. It did involve a little bit of, let's not call it breaking and entering, but it did involve some kind of secret ops, black ops. Anyway, the point is, I got my sweatshirt back. Anyway, where were we? We were on the point of the run. It's difficult to do. It's frustrating to catch a trend and then only get a small piece of it. So I have a little bit of a, I have a technique. I don't know if I even want to call it a technique, but I have an idea for what you can do. And it's kind of like a mental trick. and I guess you could use this for anything in life, but we're going to focus on trading because that's what we do here. Here it is. Here's the mental trick, so to speak. Pretend your winner is a loser. You'll hang on forever. So I've got a trade right now. So let's see if I can get over to this. So I've got a trade. Yeah, this is in my trade copy account. So this is the international trade copy account. I think it has 30-something thousand dollars in it or whatever. And what I have going on right now is I have a Canadian dollar Swiss franc trade that's open right now. Of course, this is a live account. And so I bought the Canadian dollar Swiss franc today. And so what I would tend to do historically is I would tend to, jump out. Like, oh my gosh, it's a winning trade. I'm a counter trend trader, and I've got to grab the profits while they're there. But I'm going to pretend that this is a losing trade. This is a loser. And if this is a loser, I'm going to let that thing run. Because historically, what I have done, very successfully I might add, is take small positions, let them run against me and don't worry about it, and then build my way out of that position. But with a trend trade or with a successful trade, what I've historically done is quickly taken profit on a trade that's working. And that has historically left me out in the cold a little bit on my winners. So what I'm doing is I'm mentally imagining that this trade on the Canadian dollar Schweizer Franken is a losing trade, and I'm just going to let that thing run. And I'm going to imagine in my mind, oh, that's a loser, but I'm going to let it run because it's a small trade. And then if it goes further against me, maybe I'll add a little bit to it and whatever else. And I'm just going to sort of just pretend, and I'm going to let this thing become a much more substantial win. Now, if that sounds like I'm a crazy person, hey, listen, you're not the first to figure that out. I love you all. Now, there's a link inside of this Facebook video. If you want more information on the recipe for trend trades, click the link. It's robbooker.com/trend report or whatever it is. Just go to the link in Facebook. And on YouTube, there's a link directly below the video in the description that will get you more information on my brand new recipe and formula for trend trading. And I'd love you to have it for a limited time off or whatever. I love the crap out of you. Thanks everybody for being here. Tim Berkwin, it was really nice to see you. Tim Parker, God bless you, man. And Chuck, always a pleasure. Can't wait to see you in person. And I will see you all tomorrow, everybody. Thanks for being here. Bye for now. I don't know how long this takes to shut off, but I never do it right.